So we always say so. I'll reset. Back in 2005, I started up the East Coast trip at Rio Norte Junior High School. I then left Rio Norte Junior High School in 2012, handed the trip off to Matt Sheridan, who has done a lovely job taking over the trip. I was invited to be a chaperone on the trip, and Libby was invited to be a junior chaperone on the trip. Did you enjoy that?
It was so fun. It was fun until me and a couple other chaperones got a cold at the end, but other than that, it was fun.
But Libby did a great job, super responsible. She missed her 8th grade East Coast trip because of COVID.
Yeah.
So this was kind of Libby's opportunity to not
it's
only...
my revival.
I know, to not only make up for the fact that you didn't get a trip, but also to, be the responsible young adult that Libby is, even though she was only a year older. You project that authority and that responsibility, and so
I tried. There were some times I was doing more than the adults, but because I was at the back and I was like, go! I want to get to the museum, kids, just go.
So we start the trip in Washington, D.C., we move on to Philadelphia, and then we end the trip, the last 2 nights of the trip, in New York City. Mm-hmm. And the first night dinner...
Yes, first night.
...was... at the place called Gale's Broadway Rose. Do you want to tell the story of dinner there?
Yes. So I had a lovely time on the East Coast trip. I really missed the East Coast. It was my first time in 10 years since I had been back there. So it was definitely fun to relive. Well, Washington, D.C. we went to 5 years ago. New York, Philly were 2012. Anyway.
I was like, we've taken you to the East Coast. You're acting so deprived.
Georgia, Orlando, you've been...
Texas.
East Coast, but
Alaska, Canada.
I'm not deprived. I just haven't been to that part of the East Coast in a while. Anyway, back to the story. So, Gale's Broadway Rose. It was such an amazing dinner. The food was fine. It's East Coast trip food, so it's not going to be the best. But the experience was so fun, and I have never seen 8th graders so happy, because what they do, if you haven't seen or heard of before, in New York there are a few locations where as you eat your meal, the waiters will sing for you.
Well, and the servers, similar to here in LA, where a lot of the servers are like actors who are looking for work. They're Broadway performers who are either working actors or looking for work actors.
Yeah, so they are able to share their talents with us while they try to get, to a bigger audience. So not only did we do this dinner, we did a singing breakfast the next morning. Everyone was so exhausted. But the standout singing meal, because there were 2 singing meals, was this experience. So it was a lot of more recent and contemporary musicals, which obviously made the kids love it even more. But there was a group of 3 girls. And this one, and we'll show it to you. You'll get the video. 3 girls fell in love with one of the waiters. It was the funniest thing ever. And he decided...
they were crying. They were overwhelmed with emotion.
It was like a Beatles moment. It was like the Beatles coming to America. Everyone was crying. These girls had Beatlemania, but for this one guy. So shout out to this guy for dealing with them. As we were leaving the restaurant, they're like, don't leave us! I thought they were going to take him with us, and they were going to stuff him in their luggage, because they fell head over heels. But anyway, so he decided to sing You'll Be Back, and this was the very last song that we heard of the night, because, we had other things to do. So we enjoyed that. It was a full restaurant sing-along. Everybody was singing. There were some of the boys who, weren't even talking on the trip. They were singing along. Yeah. It was a beautiful moment at the end of the trip, and it was the highlight before it got sad, and we did the 9/11 museum. Great, but sad. So here is You'll Be Back, but the special version from the waiter. I can't even remember his name, but...
At Gale's Broadway Rose.
Yeah. Sondra?